This is a second class for computer workshop basic maintenance, and we'll start quickly diving into today's topic. We'll be looking at basic troubleshooting guide, how to run you know system troubleshooting when you encounter problems on your computer system. So we'll look at some of the basic things you will encounter um, when you are working on your computer system. Well, some of them are they're also split into hardware and software issues. So but basically you just need to know what you need to do. Most of these issues are just fundamental, and the fixes are they are just very ordinary if you know what you're doing. Some of them are a bit complicated, and you probably need the attendance of some professional computer technicians. But most of the things you will encounter are just basic. So I'll just point them out today and see how far we can go. So, general hardware issues. First, we look at when your computer freezes. You say, oh, my computer freezes or is behaving strangely. When we say your computer freezes, you cannot just move around, your computer desktop. You cannot click anything. Nothing is responding. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. If you're not familiar, it's just a basic thing that happens when you're working on your computer system. So what do you do when your computer freezes or gets stuck? Nothing is moving, nothing is changing, you cannot click on anything, your computer cursor is not even responding. One of the things you'll do is, one, try restarting your computer. Many basic problems can be resolved easily and quickly this way. Restarting your computer, how do you do that? You can just go, if you can access your start menu, just go and click on the start. Most times it just fixes this problem. Or what do? You can also press the Control Alt and Delete key. You hold down your Control Alt and Delete key on your keyboard at the same time. This should bring up a menu that will allow you to run the task manager. In the task manager, switch to the application tab. When you get to your tab and switch to application tab, highlight any program with the status not responding. If you see any of the program running with the status saying not responding, choose end task. You just go there and choose end task. You will be asked to confirm if you want to end the unresponsive program. So choose yes. Do this for all the programs that are not responding. If all of these things fail, you cannot shut down your computer. You cannot, when you do your Control Alt Delete, nothing happens. You just, another thing to do is just hold down your power button. Hold it down for some few seconds. Hold it up for a few seconds, and it will just shut down your system for you. When your system reboots, it will definitely resolve this issue of your computer getting frozen. Another issue is my computer doesn't power up. My computer does not power up. One of the things you do is check that all the cables are securely plugged into the back of the computer system and the monitor. Another thing is check that the power cables are plugged into a power socket and the socket has been turned on. Check that your power cables are plugged into the socket and make sure that socket has electrical signals running into it. 2, try using a different power socket. If you're not sure if it's a power socket that is the issue, try using a power socket. If you are using a power extension strip, plug the power cable directly into a power socket in the wall. Another thing you need to do is replace the power cable with one that works. If there's a system around you that that the power cable that is working, change it to ascertain that the power cable is working. Another thing you need to do if your computer doesn't power up is check if there are any lights on at the front of the machine. So if there are lights on the machine but not the monitor, then it's probably a monitor issue. Or if there are lights on the monitor but not the machine, then it's probably a machine. That means it's probably your CPU, your central processing unit, that is the issue. If there are no light on anything, there may be possible that your power is the issue. Maybe power is not coming into your machine, or the power cable is not working. If you're working, if you're working with a desktop system. If you're working with your laptop, try removing the power cable and the battery. Try removing the power cable and the battery. Now hold down the power button. Just press down the power button for a few seconds, then unplug the battery and power the cable again. Then plug the battery and power the cable again. So you now press the power most times to solve this issue. Another issue you will encounter when you're working with your computer system is when nothing appears on the monitor. If there's nothing appearing on the monitor, there's nothing, you cannot see anything, everything just goes blank, like there's nothing. What do you do? Make sure both the computer and the monitor are on. You understand? When nothing appears on the monitor and your computer system is on, make sure both the computer and the monitor are on. Now, make sure the monitor is securely plugged into the computer. Make sure that you have your VGA cable properly connected. Now you're still talking about your desktop system. Make sure your VGA cable is properly connected to your computer. Also make sure the power cable is firmly plugged into the monitor. Also make sure that the power cable, coming from the source, the electrical source to your monitor, is properly connected. Some computers have multiple display ports, so make sure you have plugged the monitor into the correct one. That is, some of them have multiple display ports, but make sure you have your cable plugged into the correct one. Try each one in turn, switching the monitor off, then on in between the moves. Most monitors have a status window displayed when you turn it on. Check if you can see this status window when you press the power button on the monitor. Another thing you need to do is check the brightness and contrast level of the monitor via the menu button. Check the brightness. Maybe the brightness has been so dim that that make the system go black. Now move the mouse and press any key on the keyboard to make sure the screensaver hasn't activated or that the computer hasn't gone into standby or hibernation mode. Another issue you will encounter is non-system disk or disk error during boot. That means maybe when you boot your system, when you power on your system, you see a system error information. What do you do? Remove any disk or a CD, DVD disk, any USB attached to your system, or any external hard drive. Remove them from your system and try booting up again. Some of these peripherals might be causing your system to encounter errors, so you have to remove them and boot again. Now, if you can hear a repeated scrapping or clunking sound or noise, quickly power off the computer as soon as possible, as there may be a physical problem with the hard disk and it may cause you to lose data. So if your keyboard, or your mouse does not work, another issue you might be encountering, maybe your keyboard or your mouse is not working. One,
make sure the keyboard mouse is firmly plugged into the back of the computer. Make sure your keyboard or your mouse, make sure they are firmly plugged. Remove them and put them back, into the port, depending on which type of, keyboard or mouse you are using. Now, try unplugging. If that doesn't work, try unplugging one or both and then reinserting it into the back of the computer. Try unplugging and reinserting again. Try plugging your USB keyboard or mouse into a different USB socket. It might be the socket, USB socket that is bad. Try using another socket to see if it will work. You can also replace the keyboard or mouse with one that you know that is working. If you have tried, all the sockets and the keyboard or mouse is not still working, you can replace with a working one to be sure, if it's the keyboard or mouse that is not working. If you cannot see any light on your keyboard when you press the caps lock, the caps lock, when you press the caps lock, or your num lock, it may be a dead keyboard. Maybe your caps lock, when you press it, doesn't bring any light. On your num lock, it doesn't bring any light. It may be telling you that your keyboard is dead. Also, make sure there is no dirt, clogging up either the optical laser or roller ball on the underside of your mouse. There's a mouse that uses roller ball. Those, make sure that you can open them and blow them and clean them up. It may also, cause your mouse not to work properly. If you're using a wireless keyboard or mouse, try pressing the reset button on your device or replace battery. Let's look at some general software issues. Some general software issues, when you are working on your computer system. Let's say one of the issues is Windows display a blue screen during startup. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. Your Windows system just gives you a blue screen with some, some machine language that you don't understand. One of the ways to sort this out, Windows may automatically restart after displaying a blue screen, as shown, as I've told you. I don't have a picture of this. I can, probably look for it and show it. You may also get a Windows startup menu upon reboot. If you do, what you need to do is start Windows normally and see if the problem goes away. In your startup menu, you can just, start Windows, click on start Windows normally. If Windows hasn't automatically restart after displaying a blue screen, you can also press the Ctrl-Alt-Delete key on your keyboard at the same time to restart the machine. You may need to press and hold the power button on the machine to force it to turn on. That's another way to fix this. Windows, another issue is Windows does not start successfully or repeatedly displays a blue screen. When you turn on the computer, press the F8 key on your keyboard repeatedly until you get to your startup menu. You keep pressing, when you press your system, keep punching the F8 key. It will take you to the startup menu. You can now choose to, boot the Windows operating system in a safe mode. If Windows now boots up in a safe mode, you can now restart Windows, and I'm sure it will boot normally. Another thing, when you turn on the computer, press the F8 key on your keyboard repeatedly until you get the Windows startup menu again. Choose last known good configuration. It will also, the computer system, programs, your system, to reboot in the last time your Windows operating system was working properly. So you can also do a system restore to a previous working state. How do we do a system restore? System restore actually is a feature of Windows that takes regular snapshots of your machine. You can restore Windows to an earlier point in time with this snapshot, with the aim of restoring it to a time before you started experiencing problem. Let's say probably you now installed a an application or a software, and you do some other things on your system, and your system starts to behave abnormally, system restore, take snapshot of all what you have been doing in the past, and you can use that system restore to restore your system back to the state when the system was behaving well. It will remove all those time earlier that it started behaving abnormally. So that is the work of system restore. If you cannot log into Windows, and actually if you cannot log into Windows, ensure that you are using the proper username and password. Ensure that if you're probably using a user account, ensure that you are using proper username and password. You can also check, some of us, when you are putting your password, your caps lock might be on. That means you are putting your password in capital letter. So switch off caps lock and put in your password. You can also check that your password is what you're expecting it to be by typing it into the username box. If you're not sure, maybe your caps lock, your password is always so it doesn't show you the character, rather it doesn't show you the word or the numbers. So you can just use the username part to check if you are putting the correct password. You can also check that the logon to box shows the ID as a domain. Try logging into another computer to see if your user account works on that computer. If you cannot access internet or web browsing is slow, another issue, if you cannot access internet or your web browsing is slow, what you need to do is reset your Internet Explorer or maybe your Mozilla, depending on the web browser that you are using. You can reset the Internet Explorer. How do you do that? You click on Tools and then Internet Options, click on Advanced tab, and click on Reset. Click on Reset. Click on Reset. That should, sort your browsing, being slow. If you have another web browser installed, such as Mozilla, Firefox, Google Chrome, UC Web, try running that and see if you can browse the web. If you can't, then there may be a connectivity problem. If you are working with Internet Explorer, also try to use your Mozilla to show that maybe it's your Explorer browser that is bad or having issues. You can use Mozilla or Google Chrome. Once you use all these web browsers and you still cannot access internet, then you are having probably a connectivity issue. So what do you do? If you're having connectivity issue, then you need to now start sorting your network issue. Maybe you check your modems or your wireless and connectivity and see if that's, or probably you run a ping test. That's what we call a ping test. If you are seeing this, this is a ping test. How do you do it? You just do your Windows R. Windows R bring out your run menu. You now press ping www. Just ping a site. Ping maybe your Google /t and you press OK. So what does it do? It brings out this reply from the website, the IP address of the website, to be sure that connectivity is on. We'll talk about that later. Another thing is, if you cannot access your email, maybe you're using your Outlook, you can restart your Outlook. Then you should prompted for username and password when Outlook will start. try accessing your email via your Outlook web access. If you can, then Outlook itself is having problem. If you can, then Outlook is having, so you have to sort out your Outlook. Another thing, if you're having issues with Microsoft Office, the Microsoft Word, the Microsoft Excel, your PowerPoint, and the rest of them, what do? You run Microsoft Office Diagnostic Tool. You run the diagnostic tool. How do you do that? You click on Start. You click on Start. You go to All Programs. All Programs. Then you go to your Microsoft Office. Then your Microsoft Office tools. Now you can now click on Microsoft Office Diagnostics. You now click on Continue to start the test and repair any problems found. Automatically, it helps you sort out any issues you have with your Microsoft Office. If you're using Windows Office 2010 rather, you can run the repair tool. How do you do your repair tool? You go to Start, Control Panel, you go to Programs and Features, add or remove programs. Then you click on Microsoft Office Professional Plus 2010. Then click on Change button in the toolbar. Choose Repair and click on Continue. That should sort out your, or Microsoft Office issue. Another thing is speeding up a slow computer. How do you speed up a slow computer? How do you speed up a slow computer? By running fewer programs at the same time. Running fewer programs at the same time. Maybe you have so many programs running at the same time. It may make your computer system to run slow. So you don't need to have too many programs running at the same time. That you need to remove some, delete the ones that you are not using at that time. Delete the ones you are not using at that time. Another way to speed up a slow computer is to restart your computer. Restart your computer. How do you do that? Go to your start and press your start button. You can either shut it down and power it on again, or you click on restart. A virus can also, or a malware can also cause your system to run slowly. So if you have an antivirus installed on your system, run a system diagnostics using your antivirus to remove any virus on your system. Remove any virus on your system. Another reason why your computer system will behave slowly is, when probably have your hard disk clogged up. You have all your hard disk clogged up. Maybe your hard disk is already, running low on space. What you need to do is you need to now free up space on your hard disk, or maybe you increase the space on your hard disk drive. Increase the space, so clear up space, clean up, run a disk check to clean up, bad fragments. It will help you to free up unused space on your. Another thing you need to do is you can use your C cleanup to clean up, when you probably sometimes you have more than one, files on your system. So clean them up, duplicates and triplicates, or sometimes you have a file, appearing even 4 times on your systems. So you can, remove them to save up space. If you have done that and you still don't have enough space, maybe you need to increase the size of your hard drive. Another way, to speed up the operation of your system is to verify Windows system files. Use system file checker to scan and fix corrupted Windows files, on your system. That should sort out, also sort out. Another thing to do is uninstall unnecessary programs. Uninstall unnecessary programs. Maybe you install programs, software, applications in your systems, and your system suddenly started behaving, starting dragging, you cannot do anything. Just go and uninstall some of those programs, uninstall them. Any uninstall program that you are not using, games, apps, softwares, and you remove them to help you free up space on your system. You can also adjust your Windows visual effects. Adjust your Windows. You can also run a disk scan, a complete disk scan on your system, a total disk scan on your system, to see where errors are, bad sectors, for it to help you remove them, and have your system running properly. Another way, you can help your system to speed up in operation is to defragment your hard disk. Defragment your hard disk. Over time, data becomes scattered across your hard disk as it is written, read or deleted. This can slow down your computer as it takes additional time to find and read necessary data. By running the defragmenter, the data is consolidated in one location and related data is placed near to each other. So you can run a defragment on your hard disk. Run this defragment on your hard disk. Or if you have done all this and your system is still behaving slowly, you can totally just reinstall Windows. You can reinstall Windows, on your system. Reinstall your Windows operating system. You can run them by saving files, saving your files. You still have your files intact, or back up your files, and reinstall Windows, then reinstall, reload all your files again. So these are the ways to sort out your hardware running slowly. You can also upgrade your hardware. You can also upgrade your hardware by increasing your RAM, or increasing your hard disk drive. This can help you speed up operation of your system, or upgrading your operating system. Maybe you are running a Windows XP. You can speed it up to maybe or even change your computer system entirely for you to have proper operation. So there's an assignment here for us, and I want us to do it and submit to my email address, the one you have. Let me give you again. The assignment says, let's say you are trying to print out invitation cards for your birthday party, but the printer won't print. You have some ideas about what could be causing this. So you go through them one by one to see if you can eliminate any possible causes. Now, outline what you will do to resolve this issue. Outline what you need to do to resolve this printing issue. So send your solution to my email, taiwoajayi@gmail.com. taiwoajayi@gmail.com. And note, make sure that the name of the course should be the subject of your mail. This course, our computer workshop basic maintenance, should be the subject of your mail. Do you understand? Like I'm repeating again, make sure that the name of this course the title of this course rather should be the subject of the mail you are sending to me. And make sure when you are in the body of your mail, your name, your full name, your department, your phone number, your center, what else again, your department, make sure they are included. So if you have any issue and you need to reach me, you can reach me on my number 764. So, and just WhatsApp only, please. No calls, WhatsApp only, so I can treat your issues on the go. So we will meet in our next class. That'll be next week. So make sure, for those that did not do the previous assignment, I'm sorry, I've compiled all the names. And I'm sorry it is late. I'm not receiving any assignment for the previous class. For this one, make sure your assignment comes in a day before our class. A day before our class. You understand? Make sure it comes in a day before our class. In our next class, we will be looking at printers, how printers work, the operation of printers, how they work, and how to troubleshoot them. Sorry, I'm sorry, the power went out, so I'm sorry if you're not seeing me clearly. Let me open that up. How to troubleshoot, how to troubleshoot printers. That is what we'll be looking at in our next class. So thank you all for attending this class, and hope to see you in our next class. Thank you and bye-bye. It's great.